I just leave. I go home. I go home to my life, and I take care of my cat and do all the stuff I'm supposed to. Well, listen. If you don't have anything to say, you blab. You just go on and on and on and on and on and on.
Breaking developments in the high-stakes media law drama surrounding ABC's daytime flagship The View. Multiple aviation and law enforcement sources tell this newsroom that Whoopi Goldberg, the program's chief moderator and one of the most recognizable voices on daytime television, quietly boarded a privately chartered Gulfstream G650 at New York's John F. Kennedy International Airport late Tuesday, less than 12 hours before she was scheduled to give a sworn deposition in the $800 million defamation suit filed by Gen Z conservative Karoline Leavitt. The jet, registered to an LLC long linked to a Hollywood crisis management firm, filed a flight plan to Florence, Italy, where Italian aviation officials confirm it arrived under diplomatic-style handling that allowed the passenger to bypass passport control. ABC insists Goldberg is merely on a pre-approved wellness break, yet internal emails reviewed by NewsLine show network attorneys scrambling to determine whether the move could be construed as willful avoidance of discovery. Legal experts note that civil defendants may travel freely, but judges can impose contempt sanctions or even default judgments when a party appears to be evading court-ordered testimony. Meanwhile, the hashtag #WhereIsWhoopi vaulted to the top of X's trending list, proving that in the social media age, even a private jet cannot outrun public scrutiny. For Goldberg and for ABC, the optics of an overseas retreat at such a pivotal legal moment raises many questions as answers and place unprecedented pressure on corporate leadership. Turning to how this confrontation began, according to sworn statements filed in federal court, the spark was a 7-minute 4-March interview segment in which Karoline Leavitt appeared opposite The View co-hosts to discuss youth voter priorities. What looked to viewers like spirited banter is alleged in a 107-page complaint to have been a meticulously staged ambush. Time-coded rundowns appended as Exhibit C instruct Joy Behar to open soft with a jokey age slur, direct Sunny Hostin to pivot to erase privilege, frame, and task Whoopi Goldberg with the ideological kill shot. Leavitt's attorneys argue that this choreography transformed protected opinion into malicious defamation by portraying their client as an affirmative action imposter who inherits opportunities rather than earns them. They further allege that the segment misled the audience by cutting away from Leavitt's policy answers and looping audience laughter to heighten humiliation. ABC's legal team counters that the documents are selectively quoted and out of context, but has not challenged their authenticity, setting the stage for a precedent-setting dispute over editorial intent. Central to Leavitt's case is what her counsel calls the receipts trove. More than 40 gigabytes of Slack threads, rehearsal footage, and hot mic audio that a junior staffer duplicated before leaving the show. Among the most damning items is a 29 February email titled Caroline Polk Strategy, in which a senior producer instructs colleagues to keep cameras rolling after the zinger, reaction cuts sell the clip. Another Slack exchange urges hosts to trend her before the noon block and to let Whoopi draw the Trump connection for maximum algorithm spice. Ethicists say such language suggests a deliberate intent to craft viral outrage rather than foster debate, motive that could weigh heavily in a jury's malice analysis. The trove also shows last-second teleprompter edits that deleted Leavitt's bipartisan work and inserted an aside about internet-funded extremism. Changes the plaintiff contends primed viewers to doubt her legitimacy. ABC now seeks a protective order, calling the cache unlawfully removed proprietary data.
Think how ironic that Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of the ladies on The View spend their time calling Republicans the conspiracy theorists, but they have been wrong about everything they have said over the last couple of...
But Judge Ariel Montague has declined, citing the public interest exception. Procedurally, the case is moving at breakneck speed. On 10th of April, Judge Montague granted a motion for expedited discovery, compressing what is normally a year-long document exchange into a 75-day sprint. The order compels depositions of all named hosts, authorizes subpoenas for raw multi-camera footage and private messages on company devices, and rejects ABC's bid to delay until after the 2026 election cycle. In a pointed remark, the judge warned against gamesmanship via strategic unavailability, widely read as a rebuke of Goldberg's sudden travel plans. Under the schedule, depositions must finish by 21st May, with a summer evidentiary hearing that could determine whether the suit heads to trial or ends in summary judgment. Former federal litigator Sophia Cheng says the compressed calendar dramatically ups settlement pressure, especially if insurers fear ballooning costs and reputational bleed. Inside ABC, the financial fallout is mounting. 3 major ad firms confirm their clients have placed flex holds on daytime spots, a pause that could cost the network roughly $3.8 million weekly. Internal risk memos obtained by NewsLine warn of a possible cancellation cascade, in which sponsors yank buys not just from The View, but adjacent daytime blocks. Network spokespeople say ratings remain robust, yet Nielsen data show a 12% dip among adults 25 to 54. Crew members have been instructed to sign revised non-disclosure agreements, barring discussion of legal matters, a move media ethicists call unprecedented for a talk show environment, and one that fuels speculation the network is scrubbing servers, an allegation ABC denies. On set, tensions reached a boiling point even before Goldberg's exit. 2 production assistants tell NewsLine that March tapings were delayed, as Goldberg arrived moments before air, skipped warm-ups, and rejected producer cue cards. One assistant stage manager recalls Goldberg whispering, "I'm not reading," their lawyer-proof copy, then walking off for 20 minutes during a commercial break. Incident reports filed with HR describe her demeanor as distracted and combative. ABC denies disruption, yet transcript analysis shows a spike in mid-segment cuts. Psychologists note such behavior can signal fight or flight, stress common when public figures face litigation. Public sentiment has flipped dramatically. Courtroom footage of Leavitt arriving with a slim binder and politely declining press questions contrasts sharply with split-screen images of Goldberg's empty deposition chair, amassing more than 32 million views across TikTok and Instagram. A Morning Consult poll shows 48% of voters now find Leavitt more credible than The View hosts, up from 21% 6 weeks ago. Strategists say this optics route could influence jurors who are themselves social media consumers. Leavitt has declined multiple primetime invitations. A restraint analysts say may strengthen claims of genuine reputational harm. The show itself is bracing for attrition. Call sheets reveal producers have booked chemistry tests with freelance personalities, as insurance should a seat open permanently, while Joy Behar and Sarah Haynes now request separate stage routes. Crisis meeting minutes warn that staff departures could become a material risk if uncertainty exceeds 2 quarters. 3 associate producers have already accepted jobs at streaming competitors, citing brand volatility. Media economist Diane Watts says ensemble talk shows live or die by perceived stability. And talent churn can accelerate advertiser flight in a vicious loop. Beyond ABC, the lawsuit reignites debate over the line between vigorous commentary and reputational torpedoing. Scholars note that unlike op-ed text, televised cues, eye rolls, laughter tracks, graphic chyrons can look like factual assertions when choreographed. The presence of internal memos mapping a strategy to rattle a guest could satisfy the actual malice standard that has long shielded broadcasters. Free press advocates warn of a chilling effect, but others argue ambush theater is not debate, and a ruling against ABC could force talk shows to adopt new compliance lanes. Lobbyists are already circulating papers dubbing the case the talk show Sullivan. Finally, while courtroom evidence, not internet buzz, will decide whether Leavitt's bombshell detonates a legacy, the mere fact that a 20-something newcomer has maneuvered a television institution into defensive crouch signals a shifting power dynamic in which viral accountability may outweigh marquee value. ABC faces a trilemma: settle and appear, to concede guilt, fight and extend reputational damage, or craft a public rapprochement that pleases no one.
If you don't have anything to say, you blab. You just go on and 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 on. Right. That's what you hear. Yeah. When they don't have anything to hold you with, nothing to make you think about what they have to say, they talk at you, not to you. And that's what she was doing. And she was doing it, and it's not new. No. But everybody's hip to you all now. Yeah. And we are anticipating that you are not prepared. Because you keep saying you going and you preparing when you're on the trail. Yeah. I would like this young lady this is her first job, I would like her to do a little homework. Because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here. Oh, yeah. Let me explain something to you. Because without that wokeness, you might not have that job. Yeah. Because women were not invited to that table. Women were not invited to many tables in this nation. The reason we fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about this. And now to hear you talk about it and to hear anybody talk about the wokeness was put in place for a reason, because black people couldn't get into colleges, because women could not get into the colleges they wanted to go to. This is all women. Yeah. See, this is not black, Asian women. This is all women. Women were not invited to this party. It was a man's world, and we busted our asses to make sure.
Meanwhile, Goldberg's career sits in limbo. Talent agents say insurers grow skittish when potential punitive damages approach $500 million. If Judge Montague compels a remote deposition or levies sanctions, procedural fireworks could eclipse editorial ones. Whatever happens, the collision between a digital-savvy plaintiff and a legacy broadcaster has created a flashpoint far larger than one talk show quarrel, one that may redraw the defamation map for an entire industry.